Missiles screamed across the Arctic sky, slicing through the frozen clouds above Greenland's jagged fjords. Ice shattered where they struck, splintering glaciers into jagged shards. The roar of explosions echoed across snowbound valleys as U.S. aircraft carriers plowed through the frozen Atlantic, their decks alive with the choreography of modern war. Bombers streaked into the polar night, drones flitted above like metallic predators, and naval guns thundered as the first salvo of the Greenland War began. On the ground, U.S. forces surged for amphibious landings, storming isolated ports and airstrips with mechanized precision. Snow turned red beneath the relentless advance. Greenlandic resistance fighters, few in number but ferocious in resolve, swooped from hidden passes, striking with guerrilla precision before melting back into the mountains. Mortar fire ricocheted off ice cliffs. Machine guns spat fire into the wind that screamed over frozen peaks. Every foot of terrain was contested. Every icy hill became a battlefield. Above, the sky burned. Fighter jets engaged in violent dogfights, missiles streaking like comets across the horizon. The sound of breaking ice and detonating explosives was punctuated by the thunder of Arctic winds. Frostbitten soldiers crawled through snowdrifts, their uniforms soaked in blood and ice. Communications lines froze or snapped, making coordination a deadly gamble. The ice itself became an enemy, breaking under the weight of tanks and armored vehicles, swallowing supplies, even crushing the unwary. Europe reacted swiftly. Denmark invoked NATO's Article 5. Britain dispatched the Royal Navy's Arctic Fleet, moving fast to intercept U.S. warships along Greenland's coast. France deployed elite cold-weather troops into the interior, while Norway sent its most experienced Arctic Rangers to harass U.S. supply lines. Missile batteries perched atop mountains and cliffs targeted American positions with devastating accuracy. Satellites provided near real-time intelligence. The European counteroffensive struck with a force and precision that stunned U.S. commanders. Fierce battles erupted across fjords and glaciers. U.S. troops held ports, but inland the Europeans controlled the high ground. European rangers and artillery units struck from hidden valleys, destroying supply convoys and ambushing tanks. Helicopters crashed into ice cliffs during resupply runs, swallowed by snowstorms, or shot down in sudden aerial engagements. Every U.S. advance was met with European resistance. Every European counterattack was punished by U.S. air superiority. The Arctic had become a chessboard of fire, ice, and steel, where no move could be made without deadly consequence. Blizzards raged without warning, turning battlefields into frozen hellscapes. Temperatures plummeted below -50°F. Frostbite claimed more soldiers than bullets. Tanks froze, engines failed, and missiles misfired in the icy cold. Supply lines stretched to breaking point. Convoys were ambushed, trapped, or crushed by shifting glaciers. Soldiers huddled in makeshift bunkers carved into ice cliffs, their faces blackened by soot, frost, and blood. Survival itself became a battle. Civilians fled into the mountains and valleys, their villages reduced to rubble. Ghost towns appeared amid shattered ice fields. Families huddled in abandoned research stations, subsisting on meager supplies, while artillery fire shredded the landscape outside. Entire towns vanished under bombardment. Greenland's fjords, once pristine and silent, echoed with the sounds of modern war. By February, the conflict escalated. U.S. forces attempted to push deeper into the interior, aiming to seize strategic research stations and Arctic bases. European forces, anticipating this, launched coordinated strikes using missile batteries and special forces. Dogfights intensified, naval engagements erupted in frozen harbors, and the night sky glowed with tracers and explosions. The Arctic darkness made every strike more lethal. Every misstep was fatal. Amphibious assaults continued along the northern coasts. U.S. Marines, clad in white camouflage, slogged through waist-deep snow, only to face anti-tank mines hidden beneath ice sheets. Artillery fire collapsed glaciers, sending deadly avalanches cascading down mountainsides. Arctic Rangers appeared out of blizzards like raids, striking artillery crews, sniping officers, and sabotaging fuel depots. The ice fields became a deadly maze of tracks and ambushes. U.S. Special Forces launched raids behind European lines, infiltrating missile sites under cover of Arctic darkness. One team was lost when an ice bridge collapsed beneath them, plunging soldiers into a freezing chasm. Another group managed to plant explosives on a radar array, only to be intercepted by Norwegian Rangers in a blizzard. Gunfire echoed across ice cliffs as shadows danced in the storm. Each small skirmish carried the weight of survival, with frostbite, hunger, and exhaustion as lethal as enemy fire. Logistics became the silent enemy. U.S. supply chains, stretching across thousands of miles of Atlantic ice, faltered under storms and sabotage. Helicopters crashed into mountainsides. Fuel convoys were destroyed by European artillery and snipers. Tanks and armored vehicles became immobile ice sculptures. Soldiers scavenged abandoned European supplies, trading bullets and rations for temporary survival. Morale wavered on both sides. The Arctic had turned into a crucible, testing endurance, courage, and sheer will. By mid-February, Greenland had transformed into a frozen inferno. Coastal towns remained contested, with U.S. forces holding a few strategic ports, while Europe controlled the interior and northern reaches. Satellite imagery revealed hundreds of destroyed ships, downed aircraft, and shattered villages. Glaciers were scarred by bombardments. Rivers and fjords ran red with ice and blood. Environmental destruction compounded human suffering. Fuel leaks, demolished research stations, and artillery craters accelerated glacial melt. The Europeans launched a daring counterattack. Norwegian Arctic Rangers infiltrated behind U.S. lines, detonating fuel depots and sabotaging supply trucks. French special forces scaled sheer cliffs under cover of darkness to neutralize coastal missile batteries. British naval commandos struck U.S. positions with precision torpedoes, sinking several frigates and cutting off reinforcements. The Arctic storm concealed movement, turning the battlefield into a deadly game of shadow and ice. U.S. forces retaliated with precision airstrikes. F-35s struck from above, destroying European supply depots and communication hubs. A convoy of tanks advancing through an ice field detonated hidden European mines, throwing frozen debris into the air as explosions tore the snow apart. Every day brought new chaos: avalanches burying squads, fuel depots exploding in fireballs, and helicopters skimming perilously close to jagged ice cliffs. Political fallout was immediate and severe. The United States faced global condemnation. NATO nations demanded withdrawal. Russia and China watched the standoff closely, deploying forces to Arctic perimeters, signaling they were prepared to intervene if the conflict spread. The global economy faltered, energy prices spiked, and markets crashed under the uncertainty of Arctic war. Even as Trump declared partial victory, Greenland remained divided, frozen in a stalemate neither side could break. By April, the fighting slowed but did not end. U.S. troops fortified coastal enclaves with missile batteries and temporary Arctic bases. European forces entrenched in interior mountain passes and airfields. Both sides waited exhausted, their troops reduced by frostbite, hunger, and constant combat. Greenland's frozen expanse had become a liminal battlefield, neither fully occupied nor liberated, but a monument to the ferocity of modern warfare in the unforgiving Arctic. Civilians emerged from hiding cautiously, witnessing a shattered land. Research stations, schools, and towns had been reduced to rubble. The Arctic ecosystem suffered catastrophic damage, with oil spills and exploded fuel caches accelerating ice melt. Indigenous communities mourned centuries of culture and tradition lost to the chaos. Greenland had become a battleground where modern ambition collided with nature's brutality. As spring approached, the war reached a grim equilibrium. U.S. forces controlled ports and a few coastal cities. European forces held the interior and northern glaciers. Both sides knew that any renewed assault would risk catastrophic loss. Satellites continued to scan the ice fields, looking for movement. Submarines prowled Arctic waters beneath frozen surfaces. Greenland, once a remote and isolated island, had become a global flashpoint. In the skies, dogfights continued above shattered fjords. Missiles streaked over ice cliffs. Naval skirmishes erupted unpredictably in frozen harbors. Avalanche-triggered artillery destroyed entire armored columns. Soldiers dug into ice tunnels to survive storms, while sharpshooters picked off anyone daring to move in open fields. Every day was a struggle between the environment, human skill, and raw firepower. The Arctic silence returned, but it was a silence scarred by ice and blood. The remnants of missiles, tanks, and burned-out aircraft littered the glaciers. Political leaders calculated risks and capitals across Europe and the US. The world had witnessed the limits of power, the brutality of ambition, and the enduring dominance of environment over human warfare. Greenland had survived, not intact, not peaceful, but resilient. A frozen testament to resistance, strategy, and the cost of hubris. Neither side could claim total victory. Neither side could leave unscathed. The Arctic landscape remained a monument to a war that had begun with ambition, escalated with fire, and ended only with exhaustion and stalemate.